So it's basically saying that like your discourse of the public display, so like how Alexander, like if you read the Alexander article, she talks about like crashing the courts through doing like public displays of political, and Hebda is basically saying that like this whole idea of like a public display of political is inaccessible to disabled people because sometimes like we can't get out of bed to go to the march. She talks in the card, it talks about Hebda's personal experience with a chronic condition that rendered her that rendered her like unable to get out of bed and go to Black Lives Matter protests. Like personally, I couldn't go to like the the women's march for a while because I was like too scared to like go to big cities because of my anxiety. So it's like, it's basically this idea that like the political only exists for people who are able-bodied, and if you're not able to go out into the streets and go be part of the protest, you're deemed apolitical.
So what's saying that like the solvency isn't able to help these people?
The app solvency?
Yeah.
Well, the means of the app are what we're criticizing, right? It's saying that there's two links here. First is the fact that you're saying that that we need to be fighting back using public displays of political. That's what Alexander wants to do. Is having these public displays of political, which are inaccessible. So the solvency of the app would be great if you weren't using public displays of political. And like either way, the solvency of the app doesn't work. You look at the case turns on that. But if you were to say like the app actually helps disabled people, it doesn't because we aren't able to be in the fight. And then there's a second link if you want me to explain that one too.
That's fine. How does the Flat Earth K link?
Yeah, so it's pretty clear in CX. I ask you if the Earth is flat. No, I ask you what shape the Earth is. You say round. I ask if your authors say the Earth is round. You say yes. Which means that you fall under this like ruse of the academic that the Earth is round, but like there's a bunch of, I read 5 warrants as to why the Earth is flat. Even if like you find some way to disprove that the concretely that the Earth isn't flat, it still means that we should be rejecting your like the common modes of like knowledge production that would just like assume that the Earth is round just because like someone said it. So it's like basically the negatives challenging the existing conceptions of the Earth as a three-dimensional globe, which can also be used in the context of the ableism K as like we're challenging the academic and challenging like modes of knowledge production, which is what Nocella talks about, but also what happens in the app with your Rodrigo's 10 card, how it's about like you talk about how it's like a rejection of the system and like engaging in making sure like academics make like different changes, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what the critique is also doing, but it does it better because we're actually challenging the basis of your knowledge, because all of your cards talk about like the Earth is round, or like at least they would imply that the Earth is round.